Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have another Community Steel video. I'm going to kick off to episode 61 with a project from German training. This is the ILV 75, and I'm not going to pronounce its German name because my German is unreliable at times, but it translates as sledgehammer. Now honestly, I think jackhammer fits this thing a lot better, to be honest. Because what it has is, it has a 75 millimeter autocannon. Yes, folks, you heard it right. It is an autocannon, not an auto loader. It's an autocannon. So pretty hefty sized autocannon here. It's got 131 millimeters of penetration. It's made for the late war period, and it weighs in at 11.29 tons. Mobility wise, the mobility is superb. Just awesome right out of the gate every time. Drives great acceleration, very agile, crosses terrain, no problem. It just goes everywhere. I actually really liked it on that end. There was no questions about what I could and couldn't cross, because it could just cross everything. It honestly, feels like a lightweight vehicle in the realm of this could be a light tank. It actually kind of feels like a universal chassis, where it could be used as a recovery vehicle, an armored personnel carrier, a reconnaissance vehicle. He did mention, that fluff-wise, this could take an ATGM launcher in place of this turret, so it'd be more of an anti-tank, tank destroyer type vehicle. So it's really cool on that end. I like the overall design. The design looks very original, although I do see some influences from different vehicles out there over the years. But the turret is definitely, to me, very unique. You don't see many vehicles with turrets of this style, but they do exist. I just can't remember the name of one off the top of my head. It was a prototype that Russia did. That was had a turret very similar. And besides of German Train in episode 61, we actually got two today from German Train. This is the Mark 17-1 Spaniel, which is definitely influenced by the Staghound. I was actually sitting in Discord with him, and he was streaming making this. So, and him and I were talking about it. This weighs in at 12.2 tons. It has a 37 millimeter gun. It's got 84 millimeters of penetration, and this is for the mid-war period. This is definitely very lightweight. With that being said, though, it's a reconnaissance car. So it does pack some decent infantry support style firepower, more lightweight, light tank firepower with a 37 millimeter gun. It will do the trick against other light tanks. It's definitely going to fall short against some of the medium tanks and some of the heavier tanks, but mobility wise, this thing is actually crazy good. This is definitely one of the better wheeled vehicles I've messed around with when it comes to Sprocket. I don't know what its top speed is. I never got it up to top speed. Armor-wise, the armor's unreliable, but it's the equivalent of light tank armor, maybe even thinner still. You're gonna get protection from machine guns, and that's about it. Any protection more than that, don't expect much. But it's based off the Staghound, like I said earlier, so it is a lightweight tank. When it comes to rapid fire capabilities, yeah, it's got rapid fire actually. It's got a pretty fast reload to it, reloading within 3 seconds. And as you can see, you can actually get a whole heck of a lot of these when spawning. Fields is a great map for this vehicle. The next one here I have is a turretless assault gun. This is the HGS 106-13-1 from Herr Gunter. This weighs in at 24.7 tons. It's armed with a 90 millimeter main gun with 227 millimeters of penetration, and this is for the late war period. The 90 millimeter gun is going to fall short against some of the really heavy stuff out there, but for the most part, that 90 millimeter gun is going to do the trick. Again, against most vehicles, it will have some problems in certain areas, but yeah. But that being said, though, its reload speed is really good. Its accuracy I found to be rather good, even though I'm partially shit. It does have a pretty wide gun arc. It's also got a very high gun elevation as well as decent gun depression. Mobility wise, It's okay. I wouldn't say it's incredible, but it did the trick for the most part. That being said, I was trying to drive up a hill, so that might have had some effect on the driving experience of this vehicle. But yeah, I don't think this is bad. I once again, this is another vehicle. I do see some highlights of other vehicles in its design, but generally to me it feels like an absolutely original design. So that's not all bad in itself. And yeah, you know, in all honesty, I think it's fairly functional. He did a great job on the engine deck, even added a maintenance hatch, and just good overall design. The next one I have here is the E9A2 Triumph from Swifthawk, and this weighs in at 38.808 tons. It's got a 105 millimeter main gun with 251 millimeters of penetration, and this is for the late war period. This is actually another really good one. Now, the armor I didn't feel was anything spectacular, although it would bounce shots from time to time, just not, I wouldn't say constantly, reliably all the time. But it does drive around pretty well. You know, definitely does the trick on mobility-wise, so I can't complain there. The gun was kind of falling short here, and I don't know. I think it's got something weird to do with Sprocket and how its armor penetration works. Because those are light tanks, and they don't have much in the way of armor. And this thing's got 251 millimeters of penetration, but wasn't penetrating that, so I don't know. Accuracy-wise, the gun was pretty good. Looks-wise, the tank looks great. Looks like a more modern main battle tank. It drives like a modern main battle tank. I did have the decals for this damn thing, but they didn't want to load for some odd reason. Rate of fire is pretty good. Gun depression's not bad either. Kind of feels and looks like an Alte now that I look at it through different eyes. If you're familiar with the Turkish Alte, I actually did an Armored Warfare replay featuring the Alte. But let's move on to the next one, and this is the Krupp Panzer from Nesta. Netza. Blah. Yeah, I'm shit sometimes. This weighs in at 24 tons. It's armed with a 50 millimeter main gun. It's got 76 millimeters of penetration, and it's for the early war period. Honestly, except for, again, some of the heavier tanks, 76 millimeters of penetration should do the job for the most part. Mobility-wise, it's not great, but it's early. You know, it's an early war tank. And that being said, I'm not saying it's bad either. It's very functional. Armor-wise, though, well, the armor was pretty unreliable for this vehicle. I kind of felt like I was driving an oversized light tank when it came to armor protection. It just was not reliable for anything. But, I mean, yeah, some of the earlier war tanks, like the Panzer IVs during the early war period, really didn't have much in the way of armor. They were actually pretty thinly armored. And the problem is they were kind of flat. Now, this does actually have an angled upper glacis plate, as well as it's got a rounded turret face. So I'll give him credit there, but I do see a lot of Panzer in this. Like, he took like a Panzer IV and made a bunch of changes to please the style that he was looking for. And hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that because, well, come on, it works. You know, the Panzer IV was a good tank for its time. All right, the final vehicle I have here is from VVX2. This is the INO-53C. We got another INO-53 from VVX2, and this one weighs in at 23.38 tons. It's got a 115 millimeter main gun with 225 millimeters of penetration. It also has a coaxial 25 millimeter autocannon. And this is for the late war period, and this thing just goes. Really good turret traverse again. There's actually, honestly, to me, with the INOs here, because this is the third time I've featured one of the INO-53s from VVX2, they've all felt very similar in many regards of when it comes to speed and gunning. There's just been little changes to them. Like this one, honestly, this one feels like the fastest. I don't think this one has the best gun. I think this one has the second best gun, although the rate of fire, I think, is really good. The mobility, like I said, is absolutely superb. The turret traverse is just crazy. This thing is ridiculous. And as you can see, I am just rolling around here, like nothing's even looking at me. It's so damn fast. Now, honestly, out of VVX2's INO 53s, I think the 53C is the best looking of the INOs. Although I have some a little weird here. For some odd reason, when I looked at this in the sandbox, it loaded kind of like this light blue color. When I loaded it here, it loaded red. I don't know why, but whatever. I think the INO, another great vehicle from VVX2, to be honest. But anyway, folks, hopefully you all enjoyed this video of Community Steel. Good Lord. Hopefully you all enjoyed this Community Steel video. I'm being old and shit, so I'm going to get the hell out of here before I get myself in any more trouble. But anyway, folks, thanks again for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.